Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Shit's Hard. I'm your host, Amber. And today we're talking about adulting because adulting is hard. Um, First, though, I did want to say on my last podcast video, somebody said I was using my mic wrong. It was like facing the wrong way. And then I tested it. I turned it out and turned it around, and the audio was so much better on this side. I was like, oh fuck. I was a little embarrassed at first, and then I was like, fuck it, it's funny. So I'm using the right side today. Hopefully it sounds a little bit better, but let's get into it. So we're just talking how adulting is hard. We're gonna talk about freaking boring shit that's fucking hard, like insurance and car shopping and renting an apartment, and how come adulting is just so hard. Truly. So long story short, I just went to the dentist this week is what brought this up. Because of course, one spin out in my whole week is about this. Not really, but so I just basically I went to the dentist and it was just I don't know, just so much shit. I really thought I had a grasp on insurance and how it works. And obviously right now I'm on my parents' plan. And the goal was to okay, I'm going to use that up while I can. I'm going to milk it while I got it. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to go for I'm going to start going to regular cleanings was the idea. Was I wanted to get back into that now that I'm in California. So, you got to find a new dentist office and do all that fun stuff. That's the worst, by the way. When you move, that's one of the worst parts is if you already had a vet, an OBGYN, a car mechanic, if you already had those things that you really liked a company, now you got to start back over and you got to try them out and test them out. And then you're not going to like one of them. And I hate that part. But for the record, I found an OBGYN and a car mechanic that I really like. So we're 2 out of 3 if the dentist was bad, but whatever. Basically, they were your retainers are so old, they're gross. You need to replace them for literally $1,100. And I was like, $1,100? You thought I was going to drop $1,000 on retainers? I had braces 6 years ago, but and I've been wearing my retainers ever since. Literally probably this last 6 months is the longest I've ever gone not wearing them because I don't know, I just, in the move, I kind of forgot about them. But I was like, $1,100? I said, for what? I was like, no, not happening. And basically, I had called before and I'm trying to do this whole adulting thing. So I'm giving them my insurance. I'm asking, making sure it covers. I'm basically making sure I don't have to pay for anything. I'm hey, do you accept it? Blah, 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 whatever. They're yeah, you're good. And then at the end of the visit today, they're it's $127. And I was like, okay, why? It's what do you mean? And I had her explain it to me, and she was super nice. Honestly, the front desk girl was, but just I was I called and I asked, and you guys I guess I asked if they took my insurance, what they do. I guess I didn't ask if it was 100% covered, which I think I'll start doing now. Because even cleanings there weren't 100% covered. It was going to be $30 for a teeth clean. I was this is stupid. There's definitely a place that will take my insurance. So I was whatever, I'm not doing this. So, just why is insurance such a thing? And also, can we ask, why the fuck is health insurance and dental insurance separate? Why is that are your teeth not your fucking health? I don't understand. This is stupid. It's just, it has to be a whole thing. So, that's what we're getting into is why did school not teach me how to adult? Why did school not teach me how to know what insurance is? Because to be completely honest with you guys, I did not know what it was until this year. I knew what insurance was, but I didn't know how it worked. I didn't know who was paying for it. I don't know what a copay was, deductible, no fucking clue. I still really don't have a full grasp on what those things are. But why is it so complicated? I just I'm grateful to be on my parents' insurance. And what I was trying to do, given I'm budget mode. Ever since I realized I need a new car, I am completely not spending money on shit. The only reason I was going to go to the dentist was because I wanted to get back into going to regular visits, and I thought it was going to be free. So I'm sitting there paying $120, and I was I didn't want to be here. I didn't even have an issue with my teeth or anything. I literally just was maybe I'll be responsible and start to take care of myself. I don't know. But it's too expensive, so you can't do that. But yeah, for real. Why is this not public education? to like teach people to do this. Like if school is going to be mandatory, and I get it, school being mandatory, like I don't know, like I've obviously being an adult, you have to figure out a lot of shit on your own. Like, and there's so much room for error. And I feel like I am so grateful that my parents are like relatively put together and like they do things like, you know, they try to go about things like the best way possible. Like they're the type that like only buy used cars and then they drive them until they literally fall apart. And like they're not the type to like, you know, keep leasing and keep buying new and like keep buying things and drive it off the lot and then it immediately depreciates or whatever. Like I don't know, like they kind of like have at least like a good financial like standpoint and like idea of like what's the best options. So they've usually talked to me and helped me like figure out like what options are for me, that kind of thing, and like what to do. But like if you had parents who like weren't responsible and you were really trying to get your shit together, how the fuck would you figure this shit out? Like even like just college tuition. How do you fucking pay for college tuition? How do you get a loan for college tuition? You just like go to the bank or do you apply? Like how like you go to financial aid? Like it's just like everything is such a thing and there's so many hoops to jump through. Like it's like the system is built to make you like to make you fail, which like sucks because it's like I said, like if people wanted to like put more back into the economy or the society, I feel like you would be investing money into educating the general public, such as high schools, just learning like how does a mortgage work and what does that mean? How does like health insurance work and what does it mean when your company provides health insurance as a benefit? Like, do you still pay for that? Because I thought it was free, and then I'm like, no, like part of your salary comes out and pays for it. Like, I just like don't. Or like your 401k, like in certain companies will like match whatever percentage you put in out of your paycheck. And I just like, I only know all this stuff because I like ask a million questions and I talk to my parents about all these things like often. Like we talk about these things often because I want to be prepared and I want to like do things right. You know, like in the terms of buying a car, I don't want to get screwed over. You know what I mean? Like I want to get something that's affordable and dependable. All while I know nothing about cars, like, but I still want to like have one that like isn't gonna have problems all the time, but also like isn't gonna run up a huge fucking bill, and also like the monthly payment isn't gonna put me into debt. Like, so I just like I don't know. I could see how like people who don't have like it's like your own success is like feel so dependent on your parents in that sense of like if your parents don't like have their shit together in that sense, like nobody's gonna tell you. Like nobody's gonna tell you to do all this shit. Hell, even filing your taxes is like 2 years in a row now. My mom has sat down with me and tried to teach me how to do my own taxes so I could do them by myself. And like what? Like I still like even this year I'm like fuck. Well, that was because we were doing like the free college like TurboTax does your taxes for free. I think if you're a college student. So now I don't have that anymore. So now I'm like okay fuck. What do I do now? Like, and it's just like it feels like I spent so much time figuring out how to do something. Like, if that makes sense. It's like you can't just do the thing. You have to figure out how to do it first and then you can do it. Like, if you want to buy a car, and even if I had the money to, I would like have to figure out like how do you like do that? Like, even if I had enough for a down payment right now. I mean, I wouldn't even know what a down payment is, but like, what do I do with that? Like, do I go to the dealership? Do I go to the bank? Like, who's giving me a loan? Like, what if I want to pay? I just like, I hate all this adulting shit so much. Like shit is so fucking hard. And like I try to be on top of my shit. And like I said, I'm so grateful for my parents, but like this shit is so like, it's just difficult. Like even on like apartments and like renting, like when we were looking for places out here, and it's hard to move somewhere when you're not already like within a drivable distance to that area. Or you're not familiar with that area because like you know, you want to go in person and visit places in person and see apartments in person and, you know what I mean? Like know what you're getting type of thing. But I just like, it was tough coming out here. And like when we were looking and all that stuff and like finally you like find a place and it's within budget and it's like however many bedrooms and bathrooms you need and all that stuff, then it's like a whole nother game to like try to get a lease and try to get like, all of us here need a guarantor on our lease because you need to make freaking like $100K a year to get a lease out here. It's just like so many hoops. Like I was talking to someone at work the other day and she had lived in New York for a little bit and she was like, literally she was living in a 4-bedroom apartment No. Sorry. Scratch that. I don't know how many bedrooms were in the apartment, but she was living in one bedroom with 4 girls, and all of their parents had to collectively be guarantors on the lease just to prove that they made like 8 times as much yearly as the yearly rent was, or something. Eight times. 8 times as much. Like, what? That shit is crazy. 8 times as much. Like, I just was like, how? Like, how is that? And she was living in one bedroom with 4 girls, as in there was 2 bunk beds. Like, holy shit. Like, nothing's as bad as New York. LA is kind of hard, but nothing's as bad as New York. Like, that shit is crazy. And like just fucking adulting. Like, just trying to figure all that shit out, jump through all the hoops, and like make sure you have everything. All the while, you're also trying to like not get screwed over. Like, even especially like I'm so nervous for like buying a car because I'm out here on my own, and like if I were to ever buy a car, I would want like my dad to like look at it first, and like because obviously I'm gonna get a used car, and like I don't know anything about cars, so like if they're like turning it on and like trying to show me things, like I'm like I don't know if like they're screwing me or something doesn't work or like whatever. Like I don't know, like it just stresses me out. And then like car salesman alone, like that stresses me out. Like how is there a whole ass job for a whole ass person to screw you over? It's like the center of their job is to like fuck you over on the grounds that you don't know. Not even you don't know what you're doing. You just like don't know about all these hoops and these tricks. Like I don't know. There's no shame to the car salesman for sure. But like like there's a million options for like financing and like cuz I'm like starting to like think about what I might want, and then I'm like, I don't know. I saw some TikTok and that's how I'm living my life now. And so the girl on the TikTok was like basically she's like a car detailer. I think she does detailing, but she was basically talking about like how to not get screwed over by a car salesman. She's like, the car buying process starts at home. You need to do your research, figure out what you want, how much you want to pay, blah blah. She's like, if they ever ask you how much you want to pay monthly, she's like, don't answer the question. Like, tell them like you're more concerned with like the total price of the car. And I'm like, oh my god, like so true. Like it's like the same thing as a credit card. They're just like trying to get you to like, oh, you have the lowest monthly payment, but you're paying this fucking car off for like 20 years. Like, and like the total cost of the car is like $5,000 more than like what's posted everywhere on the internet as. And it's just like, I have a fear of like going and getting a car and getting screwed over to the point where I'm like considering like getting a car in Ohio and just driving it back out here to see if that would be like, well, it might be cheaper, honestly. Everything's more expensive out here anyway. So it might like, that I might actually make sense. But then like my dad will be able to like look at it and like evaluate it. And then I wouldn't have to feel as like stressed about like just making these big girl decisions on my own. Like it's just like the whole thing is like all these things I feel like are meant for you to like fail, which is so like, why? Fucking why? Like, why would the car buying process be like set to like literally throw people into like a spiraling debt? Like that's like someone's whole ass job is to just like throw people into debt that they can't afford or don't need or didn't even really maybe want. I don't know. Just like all these things. Adulting is so hard. Like I hate it. I hate it because I feel underprepared. Like I just feel like that totally could like easily be like a high school class. Like so easily, just like as simple as like a PE. Like it's just like it's a foundations class, it's required for everybody type of thing. And like, it's like I don't know, maybe you have to take it like all 4 years and it just changes it all 4 years. Like I feel like when I was in middle school, there was like a little JR junior something class that was like it was like a one day one guy came in, like taught us how to write a check. And now that I'm an adult, that feels so irrelevant because like nobody even uses fucking checks anymore, barely. I mean, I do for like rent, but like still, like teaching me how to write a check was like it was good and it was helpful because some people don't know how to write checks, so that's understandable. But like it was just so small on the terms of like a one small step in the right direction. Like you could easily have a class for 4 years for all high school students across the board, required just one class a year, and like it just slowly goes over. like financing a house, financing a car, like financing any type of loan, how to manage a credit card, how to budget a credit card. What does interest mean? What is APR? Like, I still don't know what APR like even stands for. Or like everyone's like, oh, like when you're buying a car, like blah blah, like you want like a low interest rate. Like I'm not even 100% sure what an interest rate is, but like why wouldn't anybody like tell you that like so easily over the course of 4 years? Like I'm trying to think of other shit too, but yeah, like insurance, health insurance, dental insurance, life insurance, like, and maybe even going over like, oh, like wills or how to like write out your wills and beneficiaries and like how all that stuff works. Like that stuff just feels so like throw you to the wolves. You don't ever know how to do it until it comes up in your life. And even then you might not like know how to do it, but that's when you kind of just have to fuck around and find out and probably fuck up because, like you weren't prepared and now like the time has come and you need to like make decisions fast. Like honestly, like car buying. Like my parents got me my first car when I was 16, so I never knew anything about buying a car. Now my car's shitting out and it's like it feels like I'm scrambling to like figure out how this whole thing works because I've never thought about it before because I've never had to. But now it's like if my car falls apart, I don't really have a choice but to like make a decision quickly because I need something quickly. Where it's like if I would have been educated in high school, at least on like how to go about it, the car buying process, new cars and old cars, like budgeting and financing and paying in cash versus monthly versus whatever, like I would probably at least have like I would feel a little more calm about the situation because I just like know what to expect. And that would probably stress me out a little bit less. But I just like, this adulting stuff is like stupid. Like, I just like can't with like the health insurance and shit. Like I really was like trying to be responsible today and it just totally backfired. And I was like, what are other people doing who like don't have like dental insurance? Like are they just like not getting teeth cleanings and like it's like people aren't able to like care for themselves because of these systems are in place to just be like fuck you. And everything is so much more expensive out here, but I don't know. Like shit we're working on this week is going to be like teaching ourselves how to adult and how to buy a car and rent an apartment and do your taxes and learn what insurance is and maybe one day buy a house. I don't even know how that process works either. So, honestly, TikTok is what teaches me these things. Like I know people have like different opinions on TikTok and like, if it's rotting the kids' brains or whatever the fuck. But there is an educational side to it. And I think you have to admit that. You have to admit there's both. There's two sides. Because like I straight up do sometimes watch like what the fuck is a mortgage videos or like I said, that one about like how to buy a car and not get screwed over. Like, you know what I mean? Like this is valuable information that I definitely wouldn't have otherwise had. And maybe even if it's not like the most accurate or like perfect, those things are kind of subjective anyway. Like the perfect way to buy a house or get a credit card or like even finance a wedding, like it's kind of arbitrary. Like obviously, yes, there's like different things that work better, but like also those kind of things are like usually conditional to the person. Like it's going to depend on your own finances, what you're bringing in monthly, what you want. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing wrong with buying a brand new car if that's, you know what I mean? If that's what you want and that or works best for you and your budget and your lifestyle, So like, and yeah, it's like I wouldn't have access to that kind of information otherwise. Like, I mean, I know stuff's on like Google and YouTube, but like I'm just scrolling and I'm learning. I mean, I'm not gonna act like I don't spend probably too much time on TikTok because I do. But I do watch stuff like that. So I mean, I don't regret or like investing. I've seen like a few investing TikToks. I actually try to like not interact with those TikToks because sometimes I do watch it, but I'm like, I do not want my whole page flooded with just like finance, budgeting, insurance. This is how to invest your stock, crypto. I'm like, all right, actually I can't see every video like that because then I'll go insane. But every once in a while, like I don't know, I think it's helpful because like I said, like if people don't have parents who are responsible and have information on this kind of stuff and friends or family who are, you know what I mean, like who know this kind of stuff and whatever, like if you don't have a friend who who knows finances, who works in finance or who sells cars or whatever, like if you don't have access to those kind of people, you probably wouldn't know. So I think TikTok's valuable in that sense. But we're going to end on that note. So I'm going to leave the questions of the day are going to be, do you feel like you were severely underprepared for adulting, or do you currently feel underprepared for adulting? Because I know I feel that way. And then also just like something to think about is like, do you feel like your parents contributed to that? Because I just feel like people with parents who kind of have a good grip on their finances and budgeting, and maybe even can afford like a CPR or CPF or whatever it's called. CPR, I don't think it's called that. It's like a certified financial planner. Maybe it's CF, financial planner, whatever. Anyways, like even if you had parents who had that, like that's a complete and utter, like just such a nice privilege and leg up on just understanding stuff like that. So yeah, do you feel like your parents had anything to do with that? And then also, like, is it intentional that it's not integrated into our general education system, and why? And my answer to that is yes, because if they prepared you for these things, then you wouldn't fuck up and you wouldn't go into crippling debt. And then, other people wouldn't make money. Credit card companies wouldn't make money. Car salesmen wouldn't make as much money. And then they'd be pissed at the education system for educating the people on why they shouldn't get fucked over. So that's just my take. It's a hot take, but let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you think if there's a reason for that not being general education and why. But on that note, that brings our episode to a close because adulting is fucking hard. So thanks again for joining me. I'm your host, Amber, and I'll see you on the next one because this shit is hard.